Welcome back to some of the best stories from r/TalesFromTechSupport. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now let's take a look at the first story. It's called Unused Computers. I work for a company that is owned by a company in China. The folks from China make interesting decisions about business and technology all the time. They've gotten bazillions of dollars of venture capital funding there in China, but absolutely nothing trickles down to us, the US-based subsidiary. The China-based parent company has decided to open a couple offices on the West Coast, in separate locations no less. Someone higher in the food chain than me, our president, told the CEO in China, "Since we've laid so many people off, we've got extra computers laying around the office. We can equip your West Coast offices with our computers. Since we have laid off employees in our operations here in the US, I have redeployed any newer or better performing technology to remaining employees to replace 5-plus-year-old failing hardware and such. If it's newer, it's not just sitting on the shelf." So, the first employee gets hired for the sales office on the West Coast, and I'm told to send him a computer. I dutifully drop a computer, dock, and power supplies into a box and ship them off. 5 days later, I got an angry phone call from the West Coast. "This is not a director-level laptop. You didn't ask for a director-level laptop. You asked for a laptop, a free one from our remaining systems. Surely you have a better laptop there. Not one that isn't in use really, but I have a laptop from a recently laid off engineer that is available to be repurposed. It's pretty good, I think. Does that sound okay?" "Yes, send that." I set the laptop up for the user and ship it to the West Coast. 4 days later, I got an angry phone call. "This laptop is huge. The power brick is the size of 2 paperback books. This guy travels, you know." "No, I didn't know that. You said nothing about travel. You said director level laptop, and you really liked the specs of the machine I was going to send. He needs a smaller machine. I don't really have a smaller machine that is director level. Why not? Because we have vice presidents here running 5-plus-year-old laptops. Do you not understand that the technology that we have here is old and outdated?" Then they hired the first employee for the development office on the West Coast. I got the request to send him a laptop. Okay, I'm on it. It's a different individual than the sales office. Then the email follows up. He really would prefer a MacBook, 512 SSD, 15-inch, no need for the touch bar. He likes the previous generation. "We don't have any Macs here, at all. What do you have?" "A Lenovo." "Send that. Can't wait for the explosion in 4 days. This thing is gigantic." The next story is called No Exceptions. I never appreciated the saying penny wise, pound foolish until I started working for my current company. We work from 8 AM to 5 PM, Monday to Friday. Some work 7 to 5 and take off early on Friday. Others work a bit later, 9 to 6. Some show up 5 to 15 minutes late and stay another 5 to 15 minutes. If there's a deadline looming, it's not uncommon to see people in the office at 6 PM, 7 PM, 10 PM, or even later. We are all honest about our hours. Not that it truly matters, as we are all salaried. We make sure we work the overall hours we are supposed to. No one relies on us to be available, but we all have our contact info available if we are needed anyway. For the most part, it works nicely. People are happy and work gets done. Most people are happy, I should say. The bosses, they are never happy. They don't like the flex hours we've grown accustomed to and want to put a stop to it. Not too long ago, a memo was sent out. Our business hours are 8 AM to 5 PM every day. Everyone is expected to be here at 8 AM and leave at 5 PM. No exceptions. John, who drives through the worst traffic, was a fan of the flex hours. Coming in an hour late and staying an hour late meant he was sitting in lighter traffic each way. Mary, who has a toddler, would be in a few minutes late because of said toddler. Daycare, dressing the kid, feeding the kid, whatever it was. Having a few extra minutes was helpful. Myself, I was good with the 8 to 5. Sometimes I'd be a bit late. Sometimes I'd be here just on time. The 5 PM mark wasn't something I aligned myself with. I'd routinely stay late to get some extra work done or to get ahead. Some nights I'd work at home too, no exceptions. They'd learn to hate those two words. We sure did, but we complied. Need to stay 5 minutes late to finish off this proposal that has a strict external deadline? No exceptions. Wake up to bad traffic due to weather? Looks like I'll be late. I guess I'll work from home today or take a personal day. No exceptions. Meeting running late? Sorry, it's 5 p.m. No exceptions. I felt terrible one morning. Woke up a bit late, later than I wanted to, and late enough that I would have been about 5 minutes late to the office. Probably not sick enough to stay home from work. I could have powered through it, and I wasn't contagious. But alas, I was going to be late. Called it sick. No exceptions. Client wants to visit at 7:30 a.m? No, sorry, we are not available until 8 a.m. No exceptions. My personal favorite was when my boss yelled at me for not responding to his email on the weekend for something urgent. Sorry, it was outside of work hours. No exceptions. He wanted to know if I could go to a site visit that week, on Thursday, at 7:30 a.m. Why that was urgent? I have no idea. Sorry, outside of working hours. No exceptions. I'd like to finish this off by saying that this rule has been revoked. The bosses have seen their mistake, apologized for it, and reinstated our flex hours. But I can't. Despite having productivity and morale plummet, the bosses still have this rule in effect. Penny wise and pound foolish. And we comply maliciously. The third story is called Firing Me Destroyed Their Company. Back in the dark ages, around 1993, I worked for a medical transcription firm as their sysadmin. We were doing some cutting-edge IT stuff in getting transcriptions printed at hospitals remotely, using print queues with the modem number hard-coded in, and the system would look for queues with anything in them and dial the number if it found something in that queue. It worked really well. Until it didn't. I was the only sysadmin in this city, so I was on call 24/7, 365, and was averaging 3 hours of sleep per night, when I could go home and trying to catch little cat naps here and there when I could. Anytime something would go wrong on the hospital side, I would have to go to the hospital and fix it. A few months after I started, the two VPs from corporate relocated to my city, since we were the most productive city with the highest profits. The first thing they did was come up with an excuse to fire the current director. Then they took over operations themselves. Then my job went from taking care of our systems to taking care of the doctor's computers too. I did what I could, but I was also sending out resumes. Then I was told to go to our hospital and see why the printing stopped. I remember this day. I hadn't been home for 2 days and had been going non-stop for 18 hours. When I got there, someone had unplugged the modem. I plug it back in, call comes in, and jobs start printing. This doctor walks over and tells me that VP number 1 told him that I would go out to his house and work on his home computer. I politely explained to the doctor that I can't do that and that I'm heading home to get some sleep. Then I head back to the office to pick up a few things before heading home. As soon as I walk through the door, I get escorted straight to the VP's office. Both VP 1 and 2 and the office manager are there. They proceed to start chewing me out. I just started laughing at them. I'm the only person in our 1000 miles that knows anything about the system. They lose their temper and tell me I'm fired and I'm to leave immediately. I said thank you and left. This was December 15th, my oldest son's birthday. On the way home, I stopped at a mom and pop computer store where I know some of the people to drop off a resume. They tell me that they have no openings right now, but will call me when they do. I talk to a couple friends while I'm there, then head on home. The only thing that I'm worried about is telling my girlfriend that I got fired. I walk through the door. She's at work. I see the answering machine blinking, so I hit play. Mom and pop computer store. Our primary novel engineer just quit. Are you still available? I call them back and let them know I'll be there tomorrow. That began a much more peaceful career, with better pay, rotating on-call, and most every weekend and holiday off. The medical transcription firm imploded. The VPs were fired. They floundered for about a year and were bought up by a competing firm. The next story is called 50 New Laptops. I do IT hardware support for our college. Coming in one morning, I hear my phone ding for a new email. As I am pulling in off the freeway, I pull into the parking lot and pull out my phone to see the following email. Our department ordered 50 new laptops. That just came in this morning. We need IT to install the latest Windows on them, along with the following software. These computers need to be ready to go by 10 AM tomorrow morning, so we can use them for the first class. I checked to see if this was forwarded by my boss or his boss. It was sent directly to me. No ticket, no purchase order information. I didn't even remember seeing an order for new laptops in any department come through the system in the last month. So I go to the office and show my boss, who reads the email and tells me that he never had a request for new laptops. So he has no idea what it's about. After a few minutes of trying to call the department with no answer, I agree to walk over and see what this was about. When I get to the department office, I finally track down someone who knows what is going on, and she leads me to one of the classrooms, with a pile of boxes in the center of the room. My heart just sinks. There before me sat a pile of new 7-inch Windows tablets with attaching keyboards. I pick one up and look over the specs. Low-end tablets, barely enough memory to run Windows 10, installed, but would never run Windows 7. We haven't upgraded the school yet. It was still a new operating system, and they are nowhere near able to run any of the software that they were requesting, as each unit had about 16 gig of storage. Needless to say, I was a little scared about this. I asked her how these were even ordered through our system, and she told me that they bypassed the system and ordered from a rep company to get a better deal. I know that there was no reasoning with her, so I asked if I could take one down to the office to get a look at it, and she agrees with the stern comment of, "These need to be ready by tomorrow. Make sure it happens." Back at the office, I show off the new toy to the rest of the staff and my boss. None of them are happy. There's no way we can install any software on these, let alone connect them to our network. My boss emails the department head, asking why they didn't go through IT to get the computers, and she responds with the same answer I got earlier. They were cheaper this way. He lets her know that we couldn't fulfill the request, and that they would be better off returning the computers, and that we would work on getting them ones that would work with our network and software. Well, they can't do that, because the website had a no return policy. Not only that, but they hadn't used a purchase order for it. They used the department credit card. So now we are stuck with 50 Windows 10 tablets that the department can't really do anything with. And the department head is demanding answers as to why no one told her that we couldn't use those. For some reason, they keep emailing me instead of talking to my boss. So I'm getting the front end of the disaster here. We finally got to our workaround. The tablets are set up on the Wi-Fi network, and we have to create a generic user account for each tablet, and then link that username to the MAC address of the tablets, so that no one would be able to log into the network with another computer. They were delivered to the department a week later than they wanted. I wish it stopped there, but of course it wouldn't. First day with the tablets, a travel ticket comes in, saying none of the tablets would connect. Got to the classroom, and the teacher had written one of the usernames on the board, and was trying to have everyone connect to the Wi-Fi with that one username. What is bad is that we had a printed set of login instructions hanging right by the board that she used. Then they wouldn't charge. Turns out the tiny barrel plug that these things used had to be pushed in all the way to get a connection, even just a little short of the mark, and they wouldn't charge. None of the tablets had been plugged in properly over the course of about 2 weeks, and we still get random requests for software to be installed on these. The students won't even use them, because the keyboards are just too small to type on, unless they have the hands of a 7-year-old. The last story is called "Website is Down." After recovery from severe problems, I was in desperate need of work. So desperate, I took an overnight shift at a rep host for tech support. Most nights it was pretty calm, and people that called on my shift were usually just looking for more help with their website than just troubleshooting. But night staff had the time and it helped break up the monotony of the shift. I get a call. and the guy is frantic on the phone. He claims he is losing 1K per hour because his website is down. After finally getting him to confirm his username and password, I asked which website of his is down. I typed the URL into my web browser, and surprise, I got his website. No issues. Next, I VPN to my home computer and pull it up there. No issue again. This is where we get into basic PC troubleshooting. Are you using a Mac or PC? PC. Can you click on the start menu and type in CMD? I cannot. The screen is black. I take a deep breath. Is there a light on the front of your monitor and/or your tower? No. I take an even deeper breath. Is the cable plugged into the back of the device? And can you trace that cable back to make sure it is plugged into the wall? If you have a power strip, can you see if it is in the on position? I think it is, but cannot quite tell. What do you mean you cannot tell? I can't tell. It is dark. Dark? Can you turn on a light? I could get a flashlight, but there's no power. I wanted to put my head on the desk. Hard. I assure you, sir, your website is up. You can check it again when you have power back. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.